It is the height of summer, August 9, 378 AD. Across the rich plains of Thrace in today's southeastern Balkan region, Emperor Flavius Julius Valens, sovereign of the Eastern Roman Empire, advanced at the head of an army seasoned by relentless frontier wars in the east. His veteran troops moved in pursuit of a resourceful and elusive foe, the Goths. 2 years earlier, in 376, the Thervingi and Greuthungi, two Gothic peoples, had crossed the Danube River, fleeing the brutal expansion of the Huns. Valens permitted them to settle within imperial borders, expecting loyalty in return as soldiers and farmers. Yet corruption among Roman officials transformed this arrangement into catastrophe. The refugees were starved, exploited, and even sold into slavery. Desperation soon ignited rebellion. Their leader, Fritigern, both charismatic and shrewd, united his people against Rome. By 378, Gothic forces roamed freely across Thrace, burning estates and plundering towns. Valens, jealous of his nephew Gratian's successes in the west and eager for personal glory, chose swift action to crush the uprising before reinforcements could arrive. Reports from scouts indicated that Fritigern's army was encamped near Adrianople, modern Edirne, in Turkey. Believing the Goths to be fewer in number than his own 15,000 to 20,000 troops, Valens ordered an immediate advance. His generals advised caution, noting that the Gothic cavalry under Greuthungi commanders Alathius and Saphrax had not yet been sighted. Ignoring these warnings, Valens pressed forward toward battle. The Roman army marched uphill, burdened by heat, armor, and supplies. By mid-afternoon, they reached the Gothic wagon laager, a defensive ring of wagons shielding the camp. Exhausted and parched, the Romans struggled to maintain order. Observing their condition, Fritigern sent envoys proposing peace. Merely a delaying tactic. His cavalry was still absent, and he needed time. Talks collapsed. The Goths then set nearby fields ablaze, sending thick smoke across the battlefield, worsening Roman fatigue and dehydration. The smoke also hindered Roman movement, buying the Goths precious time. Despite these conditions, Valens delayed full engagement, sending an officer to continue negotiations for captured Roman prisoners. At that moment, the Roman right flank cavalry, acting without orders, suddenly charged the Gothic lines. Their motives remain unclear, perhaps a reckless attempt at glory, using the smoke for cover in a surprise attack. Yet the Goths, having just enough time to prepare, absorbed the charge and held firm. Without support, the Roman cavalry failed to break through. This marked a disastrous beginning for Valens. Worse followed. The absent Gothic cavalry returned, reinforced by Alan horsemen. With his right flank engaged and vulnerable, Valens ordered the rest of his army forward. Meanwhile, his left flank cavalry, disorganized and unprepared, charged prematurely ahead of the infantry center. On the right, Roman cavalry already in disarray faltered further upon seeing the approaching Gothic and Alan reinforcements. Panic spread. Some held position, but others fled. The enemy cavalry swept in from flanks and rear, devastating the Roman right. Though battered, parts of the line held just long enough for reinforcements. When the Roman infantry center finally advanced, seasoned legions slammed into Gothic infantry, pushing them back through sheer force. The struggle was intense. On the Roman right, cavalry collapsed under pressure, while on the left, Roman cavalry initially gained ground, driving Gothic infantry toward their wagon defenses. However, gaps left on the Roman right allowed Gothic infantry to penetrate and attack the Roman center from the side. Even elite legions could not sustain combat on multiple fronts for long. As the battle intensified, Fritigern redirected Allan cavalry to support his struggling right. They struck the Roman left with brutal precision, inflicting heavy losses and halting Roman momentum. The tide shifted decisively. Gothic cavalry, having routed the Roman right, regrouped and charged into the rear of the Roman center. Soon after, the Roman left collapsed entirely. The Goths completed a deadly encirclement, trapping Valens' army. Roman infantry fought fiercely, resisting collapse, but no force could withstand full encirclement. Ancient historians long observed that surrounded troops fight with desperate ferocity, and so it was here. Roman soldiers battled savagely, cutting down enemies before falling themselves. Eventually, the center realized its fate. With a narrow escape still possible, many soldiers abandoned their weapons and fled. In the chaos, the emperor was left behind. Some loyal guards remained, fighting to the end. By nightfall, a Roman army of roughly 20,000 had been reduced to a fraction of its strength. The historian Ammianus Marcellinus recorded that Valens was abandoned. Some attempted to rescue him, but most cavalry had fled. His final fate remains uncertain. He may have died anonymously on the battlefield, his body never found. Another account claims he escaped wounded to a peasant's hut, which was later burned by enemies unaware of his presence, killing him inside. Neither version can be confirmed. The defeat at Adrianople was catastrophic. The Eastern Roman field army was effectively destroyed. This battle marked a turning point in Roman history. For the first time in centuries, barbarian forces annihilated a major imperial army and killed a reigning emperor in battle. The empire would never fully regain its former dominance. Within a generation, the Visigoths, descendants of Fritigern's followers, would go on to sack Rome itself in 410.